square circles or something like that, and like
Yeah,
if I make up my own God, then I can make up my own presuppositions.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean, but he was completely inept and still is inept at debating metaphysics.
Well, I'm just curious, how did you combat that argument?
There's no argument there, because he doesn't have a defensible worldview to ground propositional declarations.
Gotcha. Could you expound on that?
Yeah, in order to predicate, in order to invoke statements and propositions that entail actuality and consequential intelligibility, it's going to have to be in virtue of a identifiable and defensible worldview. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have an identifiable defensible worldview. Therefore, what he spouts is all based upon
himself,
a regress terminating in "I don't know."
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's why when you ask people like him certain metaphysical questions that they know it's going to reach a dead end for them, they dodge, okay? They prevaricate, they obfuscate, and they rabbit trail, and then they resort to being uncooperative. Planet Fiasco Peterson has no identifiable and defensible model of reality. He is completely inept at not only defending, let alone articulating metaphysics. He just appeared on a stream where I was at, and he got routed on a discussion about the viability of random mutation and random variation being able to accrue into ever increasing functional biological information. He didn't even understand what the odds are of mutations producing the coding sequences for one protein.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, go ahead.
He was a total, and he's crazy enough that he uploaded the last video, right? He's crazy enough. Because what he should have buried that. He should never have uploaded that, because he made himself look not only inept, but he made himself look like a psycho. This video is even vastly more worse than the first video. And that's going to be, he will probably upload that to his channel, I would probably say maybe in the next 48, maybe 72 hours. But it's also going to appear on the presup_P Mars channel probably within 48 to 72 hours. And when you watch this video, it is jaw-dropping for two reasons. One, his absolute psycho behavior, and number two, his complete ineptitude when he momentarily stopped to pretend like he was going to talk like an intelligent person. He got completely routed. And another mistake that he made was he tried to make an equivalence to his unhinged behavior to say that that's the equivalent when I get angry and raise my voice at somebody. It's a total false equivalence, because I'm not doing this out of revenge or to put on a show or stick. When I get angry and raise my voice and when I interrupt people, it's because they're being completely uncooperative, completely evasive and deceptive. I don't get angry with people when they merely disagree. But when people are clearly showcasing that they're filibustering, they're lying, they're being evasive, they're ignoring what I'm saying without having a cogent response. I don't even have to agree with the response. As long as it's germane to what I'm saying, fine. Mm-hmm. So there's no equivalence to the times where I have been angry with people and, even yelled at them, to him just coming on and being unhinged. I mean, look, I'm sorry to say this, right? But I'm going to say it. He's a 30-some-year-old adult. But he comes across as a teenager who thinks he's smarter than he is. And so he did himself an immense disservice in this last appearance.
Yeah, it was definitely polarizing, I guess.
Wait till you see it. Listen to me. My words pale to describe how insanely he behaved and how he miserably failed to account for the combinatorial problem referring to random variation. You see, they just assume that random variations will occur and that there's a sufficient pool of random variation for natural selection to take advantage of. But what he doesn't understand, that the amount of time and trials in a universe where you had 1 trillion squared Earth-like planets, you get that number? 1 trillion squared Earth-like planets. That even in such a scenario of 14 billion years, there's not enough time and trials for random variations to code for even one protein.
Well, there's also the part too where there's a lot of things in nature that could not develop step by step. I actually just read an article issued by Stanford that was against that.
I agree with you.
It was on fine tuning. It was
they
really
ignore this.
What's that?
They ignore this problem.
Yeah.
Because they've drunk the Kool-Aid and the dogma that evolution is true. They just ignore the problem as, well, we don't understand how it happened, but we're working on it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I was just going to continue to say that it's an interesting article. It's obviously for evolution. But every time that they appeal to some fact, they just go, well, this guy's an expert. He said it in this book. Go read it. We're right. And I just found that funny because they never actually bring an argument to the table.
I got a quote here for you, and you can look this up yourself. Dr. Eugene Coonan, Koonin. He's a world-renowned expert on evolution and microbiology, right? He's an anti-creationist. He wrote a book called The Logic of Chance, Defending Biological Evolution. In this book, he says, you ready for this? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is shocking. And I'm going to paraphrase him because I don't have the book open. But in several places, he repeats the proposition that evolution is virtually statistically impossible, but in a multiverse, it's guaranteed. Now, if there's enough time and trials within a grandiose single one-off universe, there would be absolutely no need whatsoever to invoke a multiverse. You see, introducing a multiverse is an ad hoc reference. It's a form of special pleading to get out of the statistical improbability. It's kind of like this. If it wasn't for the hundreds of thousands or millions of people playing the lottery, then nobody would win. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, so if you have hundreds of thousands or millions of people over the course of a short period of time, you're going to get somebody at random that gets within striking distance to overcome the improbability due to the number of trials vis-a-vis the improbability.